Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Chat to Review. I'm your host, Alex.
And I'm Stef.
Today, we're going to be talking about Season 24 of The Bachelor, including all of the drama that happened throughout the season, our theories on who we thought would win as we watched, and then our honest thoughts on the explosive season finale.
Let's jump right in.
So at this point, I think everyone in the entire world has heard about Season 24 of The Bachelor because if I'm not mistaken, it's been the most dramatic, most explosive, most talked about in all of the seasons. And I wanted to kind of give our first thoughts on what the season would be like when we started watching from the beginning because Steph and I have very different impressions of The Bachelor, and you'll start to see why.
So I don't know if you've ever seen like any previous season or anything, but I watched a few seasons prior to this. But specifically, I was really into Hannah Brown's season, which she was the Bachelorette before, Peter was the Bachelor. He came from her season. Everybody loved him. Everybody was confused as to why he didn't at least come second. He was like a big fan favorite. He was famous for the windmill and windmill, whatever. The parents, everybody was fans of because like they made their appearance on that show as well. So whenever he was picked as a Bachelor, I was really excited. I thought he was a cutie. I thought he was a fan favorite. So I thought it was going to be a great season.
Yeah.
We ended up being over here. We were watching the Super Bowl.
Right.
And I think that the first episode of Peter's season had just come out or something. And I convinced you to watch.
Yes.
So what do you think?
I do remember this. Okay, so I have held out on watching The Bachelor, and that is very unpopular. But I know a lot of people that I follow on social media watch The Bachelor religiously, and Bachelor, Bachelorette, all, the entire spectrum of shows. But I never wanted to watch it. I think the reason is I just have a hard time dealing with the fact that the Bachelor or the Bachelorette is dating 20-something people at one time. I know that they weed out a bunch at the beginning, but it doesn't make sense to me that any of these people, like in the confines of a normal relationship, these things that happen in the show would not be okay. Yeah. And so I think I understand that it's for the purposes of the show that he's dating all these people and they go to fantasy suites and all this stuff. But I think it just took me a while to watch it because I didn't know that it would be something for me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. It is really odd. I mean, I found myself more preferring a show like Bachelor in Paradise or Love Island or something like that, to where there's like a bunch of people meeting a bunch of other people and they kind of just couple up naturally.
See, I'm fine with that because on MTV I've watched shows that are similar, like Are You the One, where you have 20 people and they're all paired up by matchmakers. They're supposed to find their perfect match. Yeah. They end up canoodling with each other throughout the season. And I understand that a little bit more than one person having 20 people push so hard to be their significant other. I think that's where, maybe it's just because of how I am individually. I just wouldn't be okay with having to go up against 20 other women for one guy.
And that's just so hard. I mean, obviously, like you see at the end, almost the end of every Bachelor or Bachelorette season, they're in love with 2 people or 3 people or whatever, or they're falling in love with the top 4. Yeah. And it's like, at what point is that okay later on? Like, to be the one that's picked and then later watch all the stuff unfold and how it happened. Like, it's going to just, and that's why a lot of the relationships don't last.
And I had those same struggles like watching the show. The first couple episodes were particularly difficult for me to watch, and I remember talking a lot of crap like while I was watching the episodes, just because when there's so many women, like a lot of the women were like, he's my future husband. My future husband is standing right in front of me and blah, 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 blah. And it was it was painful for me to watch.
Yeah. I mean, cringy.
Yes,
Just
it's
like,
very cringy
Mhm.
because I understand it's a show and it's not supposed to be normal. It's not set in reality. But then I just, like you said, think back to if I were the one at the end, like if I were Maddie or Hannah Ann as we'll get to,
Mhm.
I don't see how I could go back and watch as he kisses other women and says that he makes like such a good connection with other women. And that's kind of another thing that we'll talk about of drama throughout the season. I don't think Peter did a great job of mitigating some of the issues that he caused.
Yeah.
By giving some of the women more hope rather than being honest with them.
Yeah.
So there are just some issues. I think the show is entertaining. I understand why people watch it. I watched it to the end. We're doing a whole episode on it. So I'm definitely, I don't know if I would call myself a fan, but I can definitely understand why people watch the show.
Yeah. It's definitely good television.
Yeah.
And as we're sitting here, I was kind of thinking like a good idea, just throwing it out there, might be, if they're never going to do this, but just hear me out. If the beginning of the season, you know, like whenever you know people aren't going to last, like
Yes.
they're just like, you're just watching it kind of for nothing. I wish that they would make all that process like into one episode. Like the very first episode, it kind of shows him like weeding out like the obvious ones, like he is just not connecting with. And then it just goes straight to like the top 8. And then you get like 8 weeks of whatever. And then
yeah, that actually does make a little bit more sense, because that was another criticism that I had. I felt like a lot of the girls that were there, that, you know, you spend so many episodes just saying they're obviously not going to make it.
Yeah.
That they're just there like because of the production of the entire show. Like they're just there to add drama.
Yeah.
And that gets in the way of these people trying to actually find real connections.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a good point.
I know that the drama is good TV. It's what gets people watching, and I'm here for it, but I do also get annoyed whenever it's like weeks and weeks of just watching people fight that like, you know, aren't going to make it anyways. Yes. And it's just like, come on. Also, sorry.
I think one thing, just watching this season, I haven't watched past seasons, but watching the women cut each other down was also difficult for me, because I know that is in reality what, like how something like that would play out. I mean, obviously if you have one guy and multiple women are fighting for him, they're going to talk bad about the other. It's not like a happy scenario.
Yeah.
So I think it is difficult to see something like that where women are cutting each other down.
Yeah.
And it kind of, for me, makes me say, like, what makes him so special to then have all these women fighting for him?
Yeah.
But
I don't know, as more and more has come out with different bachelors that have been more open to the fact that like it's very difficult to like make that decision. It's just really interesting that they're still going with the same concept. Like as we're watching it, I think it's obvious that it would be a lot easier if there was just like less women, or I don't know, but that's where Bachelor in Paradise comes in, and I'm a fan of that.
Yes.
And that's, I think, why I watch Bachelor and Bachelorette, is to like,
so that you know.
Yeah, like you learn the people that go on that show, and then it's kind of like a preface to that show.
See, I'm looking forward to Bachelor in Paradise after hearing you talk about it, just because that's a little bit more down my alley. At least the ratio of male to female is equal, and so everybody has an opportunity. I just think with Bachelor or Bachelorette, having to fight with however many other people for attention, which is part of the drama of the first couple episodes. Like, people, can I steal you for a second? If I were in that situation, obviously I'm not the person I'm not any kind of woman that would be on The Bachelor. And I think a lot of women aren't. Like, it would take a special kind of person to be on there. I personally wouldn't do that. I would be like, you know what? Whatever. I don't need your attention. I'll go find like some other person.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we've talked enough about our initial impressions of the season. So kind of let's jump right into the actual meat of what happened. And let's talk about some of the drama that occurred along the way, and also our theories on who we thought we would win. So I think from the beginning, just seeing all of the girls do their introductions, obviously Hannah Ann and Madison stuck out.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that goes to show, like, some of the production of The Bachelor. Like, there are just some women that will stick around longer than others.
For sure. I definitely agree. I feel like you can always tell, like, the first episode or two who's going to make it, like, all the way. Maybe not win, but, like, make it pretty far.
Yeah.
So, speaking of Hannah Ann, one of the first drama situations that we had this season was Champagne Gate.
Champagne Gate. Oh my gosh. That was an interesting one. All I can see in my mind is the champagne just going up Kelsey's nose.
Oh, yeah. I hear the sound in her going. She was that was an iconic moment of the season.
That was, first of all, I did feel I felt bad for both parties because, yes, all these women are put in this stressful situation of trying to, like, fight for attention from Peter, right? Mm-hmm. And to have, because I get like that. Like, I get how Kelsey was acting, because if you plan something out and then somehow that gets taken from you and it's not what you expected, that's how you expected that situation to play out, I completely understand getting upset, especially being in that situation where you're fighting for attention. But watching it, I don't think that it was not malicious. I think that they saw the champagne there and were like, oh, let's just pop it open.
They probably thought, like, it was just kind of set there for whoever to stumble upon.
Right.
I understand that. At the same time, though, the whole episode, like, as it was happening, you were almost like, was this planned? Like, were the producers like, go over there, there's champagne over there? Or, like, why didn't, I mean, I get that they wanted good TV. Like, that was an amazing moment. So obviously I see why they didn't. But at the same time, why didn't a producer say, like, hey, like, that's her special bottle that she has saved for however long?
It did seem a little bit set up.
Mm-hmm.
But that's where I have a hard time figuring out, like, how much is this show produced and, like, what, because, I mean, I can't think of a specific example, but producers of these types of shows will do things or will tell people things in order to get some kind of drama.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't surprise me that this all happened. Yeah. Even though there was another bottle of champagne waiting in another place. But I don't know. I just think it's kind of interesting that they're just fighting over champagne.
Yeah. I felt like that was one of the more, like, lighthearted dramas.
Yes.
Like, yes, there was drama between Kelsey and Hannah Ann, but it wasn't, like, anything deep or that serious. Yes. Like, Hannah Ann was just like, I'm not a champagne stealer.
And at that point, I literally thought Kelsey would not last at all.
Right.
This is going to sound mean, but I kind of felt that Kelsey was just there because he felt bad. Yeah. Like, I felt that he felt bad for her for the longest time because she kept approaching him and telling him how she felt throughout the season, which is a good thing. You should be doing that. You should be honest. But I don't think that he was very honest with her. Yes. I feel like she was being honest with him, and he kind of just kept her around because he felt bad.
Yeah. I did see a conspiracy theory kind of thing on Twitter about why he kind of strung her along. Okay. And that is because if you see whenever Barb is in an episode, she's just crying the whole time.
Yeah.
She's a very emotional person. She cries a lot, but he has that special heart or special place in his heart for his mom. And all Kelsey does the entire season was cry.
So it's the type of thing where, like, you go for a type of woman that is like your mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then also, like, he sees that whenever his mom is upset, she is emotional and she cries.
Yes.
And that means, like, he just has a special place in his heart for that. And then Kelsey, same thing. So it's like
that's
he kind of kept her along because he appreciates emotions, I guess.
I feel like this is the sad kind of part about The Bachelors. You have women that are really searching for, and I don't deny that Peter is searching for the love of his life or, like, his wife.
Yeah.
But I think you have these women like Kelsey, who I think was 28, who are searching for that special someone and believe, like, this is their last-ditch effort to find a husband.
Yeah.
And I think it just builds up this false expectation that they're going to walk away and just live happily ever after.
Yeah.
And that's what I think Kelsey was more of, like, a hopeless romantic. which also can lead you to get hurt.
Yeah.
You know.
What was the next drama in the season?
I feel like, from what I remember, maybe it was the Sydney
Alea.
Yeah, I think that was the next drama.
Well, was Sydney was the one that went to Peter first and said something about her not being real or her being fake in front of the cameras, and then it caused that whole thing at that pool party.
Yes.
Where he sent her home. Yes. And then she ended up coming back, like the next group date, and then keeping her. That whole thing was just weird. I actually did think that Alea was going to make it kind of far because I thought that they had a good connection. Like, he kept her, like, he wanted to keep her.
Yeah.
And so I thought maybe.
I don't know. I didn't see it.
Yeah.
I didn't see it with Alea just because she did act like over dramatic.
Yeah.
But I just didn't see them have that great connection, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that is another example of them cutting down each other. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. There were a lot of examples. I hadn't watched previous seasons, so I didn't know if that was the status quo where some of the women go to Peter and say, "Oh my gosh, like she's doing this, this, and this."
Always. There's always a villain of the season.
Really?
I don't know whether that's producer driven or if somebody goes into it knowing that they're going to be the villain. I mean, I'm sure that they don't.
Yeah.
But yeah, every season there's always a villain, and then there's always two people that feud that go on like the double date thing, and then one gets sent home. But
which,
you were
of course, the villain of this season was Tammy.
Oh, geez, yeah. Overall,
yeah.
Which is crazy because she kind of like laid low.
She laid low at the beginning. At the beginning, I actually liked her.
Yeah.
I thought she was one of the more reasonable ones.
Yeah.
And then she started just kind of going off the deep end and getting into everybody's business that she didn't need to be in. And that was another case where I think Peter didn't address the drama and he wasn't honest with Tammy.
Yeah.
Until about when she left.
Yeah.
But he should have been able to see like that there was trouble.
Yeah. I liked that she was like the comedic relief at the beginning. Like I knew that she was going to make it far, wasn't going to make it far. It was, you could just tell. But she was like the funny girl. I thought she was going to just get sent home eventually, like whatever. And then she just completely started going crazy. I
just didn't understand, I guess.
I don't know where it came from. It felt very random.
It did feel very random. I mean, she started going after, did she go after Alea too? I can't remember.
I don't remember.
I know that they were all mad, like when Alea came back and he was like, okay, yeah, you're back on. And then they all got mad. And then he was like, okay, Alea's gone. Sorry.
Yeah. That was weird.
That was super weird.
Because that's why I thought she may last long. Because I was like, obviously, like, he would go as far as to want her back.
Right.
Instead of just saying, like, okay, that's gone anyways. So.
That was very odd. But then I think after that, the next drama was kind of with Tammy and McKenna.
Yeah. If
I remember correctly. And McKenna just, I'm sorry, but the the licking her lips and the, he's not going to know who I am.
Yes. He's not going to know my heart. I couldn't with her. I really couldn't. She drove me crazy.
I think it's interesting because Hannah Ann and Madison were both 23. And McKenna, I believe, was 22. But the maturity difference, at least from what was shown on screen, was huge. Like, McKenna just flat out was not ready for that. And she just had, like, this look in her eyes. Like, she was just so dazed by Peter. And she really thought that, like, it was going to be her fairy tale.
I hate to be that person because I do hear it a lot. But I really do think that she just went on that show to get the followers, to become a meme, to stand her ground and be an independent woman and look like she was that girl that just said the quotes. Like, she would just say things just to, like, have notable moments. And it was just, like, even throughout, like, the Women Tell All and all that, it was just all a show. And she guaranteed her spot in Bachelor in Paradise, which is going to just be something else. So I don't know if I'm ready for all that, but maybe she'll find love. They tend to, like, really be authentic and toned down in Bachelor in Paradise.
Really?
Yeah, like, if they're, like, a villain on the season or if they, like, are super dramatic and stuff during the regular season. They're usually just like regular, genuine people on the beaches of Mexico.
If it happens.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Dun, dun, dun.
That will be interesting. So I don't know that there was any more huge drama until I would say the end of the road, as we started getting to the final 6 and then so on and so forth.
Yeah, but fantasy suites. What did you think about Maddie's ultimatum? Ultimatum. That's debatable.
Yeah, in quotes. I did not think it was an ultimatum, and this will go into my thoughts on the finale too, but I didn't think it was an ultimatum. I think that she could have been more honest with him from the get-go about how strong her values were and what her intentions were. However, I think any rational person would be upset going into fantasy suites and knowing that your significant other or the person that you hope to be with or get engaged to will most likely be intimate with 2 other women. I just think that that's a normal thought process to have. And I think this was a big point of contention for me in watching The Bachelor, and a reason why I kind of stayed away for the longest time, just because I think it compromises people's values and makes it okay that women have to be okay with, like, a guy in any other normal relationship. That would not be okay.
Right.
So why does she have to be vilified for saying, if you do this, then I don't know that I will be okay with that. That's a normal feeling to have. And Hannah Ann and Victoria should have also had that feeling too.
Yeah. I definitely agree with everything that you said. I felt a little bit confused at first because I was like, I mean, she does know what show she's going on, right? But at the same time, yes, you know that you're going on the show. You don't know that you're going to make it top 3.
Right.
Let alone you've only watched The Bachelor maybe, so you don't know like the real feelings that people have. Like she probably thought, yeah, I'm going to go on this. If I fall in love with him, that would be great, but we'll just kind of see. And then as her feelings developed, she realized like, oh shoot, this guy could get on his knee in 1 to 2 weeks, and he's going to sleep with 2 other girls whenever I choose to, wait till marriage.
Exactly.
So, but on the other hand, like I do also think that she kind of word vomited as she was telling him that plane hanger thing.
When they had that discussion, I don't think that she was fully honest.
Yeah.
Like she should have come out at that point and said, look, before that, when they were in hometowns.
Yeah.
Because they went to hometowns before fantasy suites.
Yeah, and her mom even mentioned it then.
Yeah, so she should have been honest before. I completely agree with that. The people that are saying she's going on The Bachelor, like she knows, I get it. And like I said, it takes like a special person to go on The Bachelor and deal with that. Like you should know what you're signing up for. But to your point, there's no guarantee like you make it to the final 3, and no guarantee that you're going to have these intense feelings for somebody.
Yeah.
But it's just a weird situation. She should have been more honest, but also she was honest enough to where he knew what he was doing.
Yeah. And whenever she was talking to him, she was like, I don't want you to sleep with the other women. And he even, in like, quote, I'm quoting him, he said, do you mean like stay the night? Like, or he said something like that. He was like, do you mean like sleep with them? Like, you don't want me to like spend the night with them? He even said that. And unless it was, off camera or they just didn't put that in, she was never like, no, that's not what I mean. I mean, like, I don't want you to have sex.
Right.
She didn't say that. Like she just wasn't completely clear with what she wanted. And then it left it very confused. I think he knew what she was talking about. So I don't think he's dumb. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Or that he needed it dumbed down or anything like that. But I do think that she was a little bit unclear.
She was. And I agree with that. And I think she should have been completely honest, because at that point, if you come out and say, I'm saving myself till marriage, and you know what? I didn't know that I would make it this far, but here we are, and I do have intense feelings for you. I understand that you have 2 other women, but that intimacy part is a huge deal, and I just don't understand. I don't understand the point of fantasy suites, I guess.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting because, like, in seasons prior, I mean, I've watched it with different people.
Yeah.
And some of them, they just all go to the fantasy suites. They all make it obvious that they did all sleep, whatever, individually. And it's no big deal. There's been some seasons where it has happened and it has bothered people after, and they broke up their engagement because of that. But I think she said what we were all thinking.
I did too. And I don't agree with this idea that it's okay to just sleep with whoever you want and there's no repercussions to that, I guess.
Yeah.
And it's not even that I'm like a stickler or anything. I just feel like there is a respect that you have toward anybody that you're with. And it would be the same respect that I would want as somebody in that situation. I feel like all of those girls should want that. I get wanting to, here's what I will say. I think Victoria F just wanted to sleep with him, and that their relationship was physical for the most part.
Yeah.
She caused a lot of drama. Like literally every time they went on a date or they were together, it was always a fight or something. I think the reason he kept her along was just because they had that physical chemistry, that attraction.
Mm-hmm.
And so I understand, like, from her perspective, like, she's looking to make that connection because some people need that physical connection to have, like, validation in their relationship.
Yeah.
But I just think it's unrealistic to then go into fantasy suites and just be like, yeah, he spent the night with her and I'm just supposed to be okay with that.
I think it made it 12 times worse that they had them stay in the same place during fantasy suites.
I didn't know if that was normal.
No, that has literally never happened before. And especially whenever Madi had already made it like a big deal that she was already uncomfortable with that.
Yes.
For the producers to make that happen, like, really irritated me.
That was really weird. And I guess from somebody who had never watched before, I was just thinking, that's odd. And I feel like the producers were really just looking for some drama at that point because they knew that Hannah Ann and Madi weren't really going to stir up some crap. And Victoria F was the only one that was a little bit more sassy.
Yeah.
But that did seem like poor form to have them stay in the same place.
Yeah. But
did you think it was an ultimatum?
I don't, because she was just being honest with him, and she said, she didn't say, if you sleep with them, I'm leaving, so, whatever. She just said, she was open and honest with him and said, if you make this decision, it's going to affect me in this way, and here's how that'll make me feel, and here's what I'll have to do. I get where people say that it's an ultimatum, but at the same time, maybe an ultimatum isn't so terrible. Right. If it's in, like, I still don't think it was like an ultimatum.
And I mean, the person that brought up ultimatum in the first place was Victoria F. And at that point, she had skin in the game, and the fact that they had already done their fantasy suite.
Yeah.
And so she was mad that she thought Madison was trying to get in the way of that. Which I get, you're in the final 3, and it's getting crunch time to where he's going to make a decision.
Yeah.
But then again, if you are that worried about what Peter is going to do, don't sleep with him.
Yeah.
Don't put yourself in that situation to where you sleep with him, and then he turns around and breaks your heart and sends you home, which is exactly what he did to Victoria F.
Yes.
So I just think it gives them too much power as the Bachelor or the Bachelorette.
Yeah. I feel like people will always, like, disagree, agree. I think that we should all just agree to disagree that it either is an ultimatum or it's not. Because I could see how people would say that it is.
Yes,
and I see
both
why
sides.
People don't. So, but that leads us into, you said Victoria F went home. That leaves us with our final 2.
Hannah Ann and Madison.
Yes.
Yep.
So what were your theories along the way?
So judging from the trailers, I was set in the fact that Hannah Ann was not it. I wasn't sold on Hannah Ann. Throughout the entire season, I thought she was just like a yes man. She just agreed with whatever he said. And he even brought up to her the fact that he couldn't, like, read her as well as some of the other women.
Yeah.
And I didn't think that she was ready for that. And I didn't know that she and Peter were the best connection. I think it was super obvious with him and Madison.
Yeah.
Completely clear that he liked Madison so much more. Yes. And I feel like he was more emotional around Madison. Like, he couldn't let her go. Like, all these conversations, he naturally gravitated toward Madison.
Yeah.
So I feel like when I watched the trailers and I knew that this whole ultimatum thing, and I kind of saw the writing on the wall with Madison leaving, I just did not see that Hannah Ann and Peter would make it. And if they did, then he would eventually leave her and go pursue Madison. So that was kind of my theory. I thought that Madison would be the one left standing. I didn't know that he would get engaged. I didn't think he would propose to her. Yeah. I really thought that he would have left and gone to pursue Madison after she went home. And whether or not they got engaged, I wasn't sure. But I thought it was Madison from the start.
I completely agree. I thought that it was Madison, like, hands down from the beginning. Or, I mean, for the longest time, I would have never thought ever that he would have proposed to Hannah Ann. That was like a complete blindsiding moment.
Yeah.
I thought Madison was going to leave because of, her situation.
Right.
She obviously had cut things off. I thought that he was not going to be able to deal with that. He was going to maybe string Hannah Ann along, but, like, eventually just say, like, hey, my feelings are elsewhere. And then go after Madison. We were going to see them, come together, and then they were going to be dating for a couple months. By the time of after the final rose, he was going to propose to her, and that was going to be it. But as we know,
I thought that the bring her home was all about Madison. And I think we were working out as the finale was airing. Yeah. And to see that she was talking about Hannah Ann was like a complete blindside to us.
Yeah. Well, I don't have live TV, so, and I don't think we can stream. We never figured out how to stream it live. So we would always watch it the day after, but that day I was like, I have to know what happens. So I was, like, scrolling through Twitter. We were at the gym, and I was like, you are not going to believe this. And it was like this tweet that was like, to find out that he was talking, or that Barb was talking about Hannah Ann the whole time, and it showed her, like, bring her home face. And I was just, like, shook.
I was shook too.
I could not believe it.
And this will go into, I mean, we're already in the finale realm, so I think we can start just diving right in. But I do not understand what it was that Barb saw in Hannah Ann. I don't have anything bad to say against Hannah Ann. Don't get me wrong. But I don't understand why she didn't support her son, and the fact that there was an obvious connection with him and Madi.
Yeah. Whenever they had met the parent, or, like, I think whenever Hannah Ann had met his parents, you could tell that he was still trying to, like, keep them, like, back a little bit. Like, hey, there's still Madi, or, hey, don't, completely give all your feelings towards Hannah Ann because, like, I think I love Madi, or, like, he just kept defending Madi. So I thought that was so interesting that they were, like, gung-ho for Hannah Ann, and they had met Madi before.
Oh, my God. That is the most frustrating thing about that whole finale, is that Barb acted like they had never met at all.
Yeah.
And acted like people did not watch this season.
Yes. Like, acted like Hannah Ann was all about him whenever they had met Madi. She was just not about him at all. And so obviously they loved Hannah Ann because she was saying all the right things, and Madi was just terrible or whatever.
Right.
But, like, they had such chemistry and connection that very first day at their vow renewal. So that was just so crazy to me that they didn't, like, take that into account and be like, oh my gosh, y'all have been in it together since the beginning. Like, y'all have been fighting for each other.
That was so weird. That has not been cleared up.
Yeah.
Because they didn't address that. Yeah. They never said, Barb, did you forget Like, what is going on here? And I think that just goes to show that there was something that Barb just wanted to make it about her.
Yeah.
Because not denying, but negating the fact that they had met before and just saying, well, our problems with Madi were that she made us wait for 3 hours before we met her and then didn't apologize. You had met her before.
Right.
You had talked to her before. You knew who she, you had known a little bit about her.
Yeah. One, it wasn't just her that made Barb wait 3 hours. It was Peter as well.
Right.
They were having an actual conversation, like, about true problems. Like, are they supposed to just go into her seeing his parents again, like, with all these unresolved issues and just have, like, that awkward, like, elephant in the room? Or do we want to resolve our issue and then, like, go into this? So that's exactly what they did. So first of all, like, what? And second, who cares if you waited 3 hours? Y'all have already met, and it's not like you're going anywhere.
Right. And the show is not about you.
Right.
Okay? It really put a bad taste in my mouth. And I just think it became so clear that the mom was advocating so much for Hannah Ann, and I didn't understand why.
Yeah.
I didn't understand what it was about Hannah Ann that she was just set and then just turned her cheek to Madi.
Yeah. I think it's the same thing as she was a yes man. She said everything that they wanted to hear. Right. She didn't give them any trouble. She didn't put up a fight. She was just like, yes, I don't mind if he sleeps with 3 other girls. And I just love him so much. And I'm just here to, like, whatever, be cute little Hannah Ann. Mm-hmm. Which there isn't a problem with that. But I think that because she was just like, here's everything you want to hear. They were like, oh, her. Don't put up with a person that gives you a hard time.
Yeah, I agree.
Which is like, what? Peter even says, I don't want easy, I want crazy.
But, like, Madison wasn't even crazy, which is the weirdest thing. What I am hating, what I've been seeing, is that everybody is trying to come for Madison. His entire family is trying to make Madison to look like some evil person, and that couldn't be furthest from the truth. Like, anybody with eyes can see that, like, she's just that innocent girl that has strong values, that has made up her mind that she's going to save herself until marriage. And I don't understand what's so wrong about that.
Right. That is, like, the only, like, if there is a negative thing, which it's not.
Right.
It's not a negative thing. It's a positive thing for her. But if people see that as a negative, like, you've got to be kidding me.
Yes. Like, they could have literally had Victoria F. as their potential daughter-in-law.
Yeah.
It
gets us heated.
It bugs me. Well, it bugs me because that's just dramatic. Like, you are trying to degrade somebody because of their values. Yeah. Things could be a lot worse.
After she's like, I prayed to God last night, and I know that he's going to bring Hannah Ann or whatever. And it's like, oh, so you don't want to praise somebody that is honoring God or whatever, going that route and, standing up for her morals and values. But then you want to pray to God for an angel to come for your son. Are you kidding me? Like, I'm missing something. But then that brings it. Okay, so I was thinking during the finale, maybe that they felt this way, during that time, whatever. You would think after watching the whole season and, like, seeing his feelings for Madi throughout the entire season, they would be like, oh, I see it now.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I was wrong then.
Right.
But then she's at the finale. She was like,
yes, she was in such a bad mood. And it was just the sight of Madi.
Yeah, she was literally like gagging in the little square.
I don't get it. I don't get how you make that decision because of your own personal feelings, because it really was. Barb had decided that she wanted Hannah Ann, and anything against her, she was going to fight tooth and nail to get Hannah Ann.
Yeah.
And that's what she did.
Yeah.
And for her to do that without even taking in Peter's feelings is just selfish. She wanted it to be about her, and that's exactly what she did. Yes. And the whole Barb cam showing her facial expressions, that was ridiculous.
I think that her behavior should not have been applauded. I think that with her being in the little square, it, like, made it, like, oh, this is how, I don't even know. I think that putting her in the square made her ego blow up even more, which she didn't know that she was in the square.
Is I don't know if she wanted to be the villain, like if she wanted to be made out to be the villain, because to me it seemed like she did. She was making that decision to make these facial expressions when she knows she's on national TV. Yeah. She knew. I have no doubt in my mind that she knew.
I don't think that she should have said any of the things like, y'all just won't work out, or none of his friends think that it's going to work out, or whatever. I don't think that she should have said that on national television, because then the whole aftermath of the finale, everybody was just like, are they going to work? Are they going to not? And it just like created so much like buzz around whether they're going to last or not, instead of them just like letting them figure that out for themselves. That, spoiler alert, they're not together
anymore.
That's
because
so
they
annoying.
Never even had a chance. And I think what's difficult for me is that, like, I don't understand what Barb had such difficulty getting. He did not love Hannah Ann in the end.
Right.
He did not love her enough to stay with her. Sorry, but do you want your son in a horrible marriage that he's not happy in, or do you want him to at least try with Madison?
That proposal was cringy.
It was cringy.
He literally was proposing or whatever, like talking, and then said, Madison, 2 minutes later, left 2 days ago. So just wanted you to know that. Anyways, will you marry me? You could tell in her face, she was like, wait, what the? Oh my God. Yeah. Like, she was so confused. Yeah. But she's even said in interviews since then, like, I was so weirded out whenever he said her name
Madison.
during.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
because
was
he said,
odd.
Madison left 2 days ago. I thought he called her the wrong name.
Madison. I honestly think he messed up.
You do? A lot of people think that.
I feel like he did. I don't know. I feel like he did. Because why?
Why did he say that, like, at all? He didn't have to tell her
That's what I'm saying.
She left.
He would have had to prepare that speech. Like, it's going to be on TV. This whole thing is going to be a huge thing for the whole show.
Yes.
And you decide to say Madison?
I just kind of don't. And then he was like, I know last night I told you that my heart was torn in 2 places. And then just kind of like let her like soak that in for a second.
And then he was like, Madison left 2 days ago. I didn't tell you before. But she left. Yeah, exactly.
Like, what?
And marry me.
Yeah.
It didn't make sense. He should have told her before that Madison was gone.
Yeah.
But then again, it's like, I feel like either way. Actually, he shouldn't have told her at all.
Yeah, just like let it be, because like let him work out those feelings. And
I've seen a lot of people say like it was just like a consolation prize. And it was. That's how it comes across. Yeah. Whether he would have told her the 2 days before when Madison left or during the engagement, she still would have felt like, okay, well, I only got this because Madison left.
Yeah. And not to mention Hannah Ann was like, I just need you to give me something. Like, I know that your heart's like pulling in 2 places, but like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, it's taking a toll on me. Like, give me something.
Right.
She said that after Madison had left.
Yes.
He could have easily been like, you know what? Madison left.
Yeah.
Or, you know what? Like, I do give it all to you. Like, you will be the person that I propose to. Like, he had all that time. That's why I thought, no way is he going to propose to this girl.
Yeah.
She was like, give me something. And he just was like, I'm sorry.
And so many people were criticizing him because he showed up in a hoodie and she was all like dressed up and had the candles all lit in that scene. And he had a lot of faults throughout the season. And he wasn't as honest as he should have been. I think he is a little bit too nice, to be honest, in times of need, where he should have told Hannah Ann, like, look, I'm conflicted, and she's gone, and now I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's one thing that Hannah Ann said during the finale, like, if you would have told me, then I probably would have walked away. You know what I would have done. But he just wasn't if people are going to get in this situation, at least be honest with the other people that are thinking that there's something there that really isn't.
Yeah, I agree. I do agree. And then I feel like I completely wasted my time watching this season. After I texted you immediately that morning whenever I saw that they had broken up. I felt completely just exhausted. I have spent so much of my effort and I've been so invested in what's going to happen. And then for him to propose to Hannah Ann, and I was like, what? And then for him to break that up and then go for Madi, I was like, yeah. And then
he was telling his mom off, you just need to trust me.
I love her. Is that enough?
Another thing that gets me is first of all, we didn't even talk about the fact that his mom, when they panned to the dad, said, say something bad, help me.
Yeah.
What more do you need? She was making that all about her. And then the dad goes on to say, there's just so many differences and blah, 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 blah. What more differences were there? What else did we not see that is so different about them? Maybe she is a little bit more religious than he is. Or whatever.
But they have the same religion.
They do have the same religion. She's saving herself for marriage. That's the difference. What else about their lives were so different that you saw? I just feel like it was one of those things where the beauty gurus or whatever have this drama and they're like, I have all these receipts. And then they come out and make their own video and then it's just everything's so vague.
Yeah.
Give us some actual examples of what you're talking about. Otherwise, we're not going to believe anything that you have to say.
Right. And as soon as the show was over, Jack, his little brother, said something in an Instagram comment and it was y'all just don't see the Madi that we saw. Okay. So tell us about it. What did you experience? Please, if y'all are the ones that look like the bad guys.
Yes.
So please defend yourself. What did she do? What are the things that makes her so evil or whatever? And a lot of people are bringing up oh, Madi got an agent. Okay.
Who cares?
She has 1.9 million followers on Instagram. Yes. She's a social influencer now. That's what happens whenever you get famous on TV.
Normal people have agents. Normal people get managers when they're in that position. That is a normal thing. Even people that don't have 1.9 million followers will get managers and agents to handle their inquiries.
Yeah. She's on the front page of Snapchat stories. She is all over E-News and whatever. Mm-hmm. Why would she not have an agent?
Right.
That doesn't mean that she was in it for anything or whatever. If anything, she was the most genuine one throughout the season.
And that's what I don't get. She's getting vilified for being who she is.
Yeah.
When it could be a lot worse. You have this wholesome person that decided to save themselves for marriage, and people are going after her for that? I guess I don't get where we cross the line and just say, well, people can sleep with whoever they want, and then we get mad at somebody who's choosing not to do that.
Yeah.
Because they have values.
Right.
It just doesn't make sense to me. And I feel like his parents would have been okay if it was Victoria F.
Yeah.
I feel like Victoria F. and his mom would have had a jolly good time together.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like this whole season was just a build-up and a build-up into just a disaster.
Yeah. And my thing is that with him living with his family, I don't know if he's still living with them now, but that whole situation is toxic.
Yeah.
You can't have your parents or anybody that involved in your relationships because they just won't work out.
Yes.
If you take those opinions and let the opinions of your family weigh so heavily on your relationships, that's like adding another person into the mix.
Yes.
And Barb is a monster-in-law. That's what she is. I'm sorry, but if she's going to act like that, I can't imagine him having very successful relationships moving forward.
Yeah. Unless it's with somebody who just sits in the background and lets whatever happen.
Says, yes, Barb. Yes.
Yes. Anything for you, Barb.
Yep, exactly.
So, yeah. I don't know. And then I feel like after, I've really invested time into watching, Hannah Ann's interviews on Ellen and Chris Harrison's interviews with Lauren Zima and whatever.
Yes, which I'm happy that Chris Harrison was actually up front and said it was awkward as all get out at the finale. And Barb didn't like that he went and got Madi.
Yeah.
It's just so odd to me. I don't understand.
Yeah. I felt like their relationship had no chance after what had happened at the finale. Not even because of anything about them. Mm-mm. Not because of their issues or anything, but because if you're hated so badly by your mother-in-law, that it's just not going to work.
Yeah, what's the incentive to actually try?
Yeah.
From Maddie's point of view. Yeah. Because somebody else would love to have her as a daughter-in-law. Yeah. Or would love to have her with their son. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I would have run for the hills. Yeah. And I honestly wanted them to be together just even for a couple months, just in spite of his family. But I mean, it's better to just cut the cord now and run. Like, there is no incentive for Madi to be with Peter. Mm-hmm. I
think that he should have stood up a little bit more in the finale. I think he should have been like, can somebody get her out of here? Like, they couldn't even, like, really sell. They were so happy whenever she first came out. Mm-hmm. Like, let's give this a try. I'm still in love with you. And then as soon, like, it just got completely switched and turned over to, like, the Barb show. Yes. And then ever since then, I mean, they've had, like, a rocky relationship and broke up. Yeah. But
I mean, after 2 days.
Yeah. Because, I mean, everybody was talking about that. If Barb had nothing to do with the finale, could you imagine, like, how different things would be?
Well, and now, Barb, like, you made your own bed because now he's not with anybody. And so, like you said, that whole season was a waste. He didn't find anybody. Yeah. And he's not going to be with Hannah Brown. Yeah. Like, those, it is frustrating as a viewer because you do invest your time. Mm-hmm. And then, like, these are real things that happen in relationships. Like, your family may not like the person that you're with. But I think in this case, the family didn't like somebody who was wholesome. So who do they want other than Hannah Ann? He did not love Hannah Ann. If it wasn't Madi, it would have been someone else, in my opinion.
What was weird to me, I feel like we're just kind of, like, talking about random stuff at this point, but they did not see each other after them getting engaged until the breakup.
Weird.
Like, they were engaged for, I think, like, a month.
It was a month.
Yeah, from, like, end of November to, like, beginning of January. Yes. They did not see each other at all. And then they just broke up. I mean, that just, like, is another thing. Because usually, I mean, in past seasons, mm-hmm. they kind of, like, sneak around. Or they'll, like, stay in one person, like, a lot of the times the Bachelor will, like, buy them or rent them, like, a space for them to, like, hang out in the meantime of whatever. Yeah. I've never heard of people just, like, not seeing each other at all after their engagement.
See, I felt like she just wanted to wear the ring for the month. Yeah. And then I just feel like, how do you not know? Right. Come on. How did Hannah Ann not know? Especially with that engagement. With him, I would have gone home and been, like, replayed that moment in my head and been like, he said Madison. And then said, will you marry me? Like, sentences later. Yeah. I would have gone home and been like, Peter. Peter, oh, come on. She just wanted to say yes. And then she came back and she was like, so you can take this. We're done. And I mean that. Oh, and it was like, he just broke up with you. I don't know how you think that you're all of a sudden breaking up with him or, like, beating him to the punch. He didn't want to be with you. So, yeah. I think a lot of people were like, yes, Hannah Ann, let's get it.
You're such a strong woman.
Yes, strong, powerful woman. And I did not see that because it was so evident that he was conflicted. And the fact, like you said, the fact that they went a whole month, come on.
It was literally like, hey, I still cannot give you my whole heart. I'm not 100% with you. I kind of just don't want to do this thing. And then she was like, Yeah, we're done. And I mean that. It was one of those like.
And then she was like, "Bye, go." Yeah. Go.
Oh my goodness. I don't know if you saw in the thing with Ellen, Hannah Ann said that she wanted to date Tyler Cameron, which is definitely like an absolute not for me because Tyler Cameron needs to end up with Hannah Brown. Period. Period. They've been spotted together lately. There's already something happening. So wouldn't that be weird if Hannah Ann tried to go for Hannah Brown's like guy? I just find that like y'all need to stop eating each other's pudding and go somewhere else.
I mean, Hannah Ann is 23. She's got lots of time to go find somebody else. So, has The Bachelor in Paradise already been solidified, like the cast?
I think that there's like people that are in talks of going. But so Claire's season will go from May, like probably like premiere in May.
Yeah.
And then go to like July. And then that's whenever Bachelor in Paradise will come on. Like they have been like recording it all throughout the summer. And then right after Claire's season, we'll see Bachelor in Paradise. So we're going to get girls from Peter's season, guys from Claire's season. And then, like, a mix of other people. I know Hannah Ann is going to go because she's already been like, I've got my bikini ready. Unless she finds somebody else in the meantime. But
no, I feel like she's in it now. She's in the whole Bachelor thing.
I think Chris Harrison said that McKenna will be there. And
great.
I think that it's going to be basically, like, all of Peter's cast.
I really hope Tammy's not there.
Me too. She probably will because she was like a standout.
Yeah.
I would love to see people from previous seasons.
Really?
Yeah, just because like I just haven't really been about Peter's cast. I really haven't. Like up until like the top 5 or whatever. I don't even know who my favorite was. I don't even think we talked about that. Like, who is your favorite? I mean, mine was Madi.
Yeah, I think Madi was my favorite. I mean, out of all the girls, I feel like she was my favorite. I had some people I liked along the way. Like, I liked Kelly at the beginning. And then the episode where she got sent home, it was like, okay, are you just trying to make yourself out to be a villain because you know that you're going home or what?
Yeah. I think it would be cool if Kelly and Peter, like, rekindled something.
Yeah, I just think she was like full of it. Like she was like, I'm an attorney. All of these other girls are whatever.
Yeah.
And it got to a point where you're just like, great, you're an attorney. Like awesome.
And
cool.
Yeah, I guess she is a little bit more like strong-willed and like a very independent woman. And I think Peter needs a little bit of a little.
But it was almost like she had to like prove something because she was an attorney. And it's kind of at this point just great, you're an attorney. Let's move on.
Yeah, like we get it. You're successful.
We don't care. We really don't.
What's Hannah Ann? A model?
Model.
Anyways.
And I saw that Madison got her degree in communications. So I don't know if she's like working. I don't know. But
she's like a foster parent recruiter or something.
Yeah. Which was interesting.
Yeah. I mean, you don't see that very often. But this season has left me exhausted.
I'm exhausted after talking about it.
Yeah, like unpacking all the drama. I'm just like, wow, we really went through it.
I don't want to see any more of Peter because I don't want to see any more of his mom.
Yeah, I want her to be like
over it.
I want her to go away for sure.
Like, how did this just turn into the Barb show? I don't get it. Let your kid live.
No other parent has been a part of a season like this before, ever.
I mean, it got to the point where it was like, is this an arranged marriage?
Right. Oh
my God. The crying with no tears. Yeah. I'm crying. I'm crying.
I'm crying.
He's like,
Peter.
You need to stop. I'm crying.
There's like not one tear.
There was no tears.
She was like, I'm crying. The shaking, yeah. Oh my goodness.
It just became comical.
Yes.
But not really, because you know that he has to go home at the end of this and deal with his family. And that just seems like a nightmare. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I feel like I've invested just a lot, and this season in particular, like I've followed a lot of like Bachelor Nation. I mean, I have for like a couple years, but I've just been like really invested.
Because
in
I
this
think
one.
for people that watched the Hannah Brown season, and like you said, he was a fan favorite, then wanted him to actually find somebody, and then he found somebody that he liked, and then his family doesn't approve, so the whole season is for nothing.
Right.
I mean, we're not going to get a Peter season part 2. At least I hope not. Because I'm done.
I wouldn't watch him again. He was too. We didn't hate on him, I think, really at all, but he was really like indecisive, and
he was super
said
indecisive.
The same thing to everybody.
Oh my gosh, I couldn't. I had a bet. I can't remember which episode it was, but I told Nick, I was like, he's gonna kiss 5 women this episode. Just you watch. And sure enough, 5 women.
Yeah.
It just became, and I don't know, I think you had said in previous seasons it wasn't like this, but he literally would go talk to a girl, kiss her, and then they would go their separate ways. Then he would talk to somebody else, and then they would like kiss. And it was so weird to me. That's why I had so many issues with it from the beginning.
Yeah. Well, that is kind of how it is, like in other seasons. But I feel like his, like, you could always tell what he was going to do or who he did like, but he treated everybody the same. Mm-hmm. And it was just kind of odd.
Yeah, he was like, I really have a connection. I think I see it. Yeah. Trust me. I see what you're doing. And I feel it. I see you.
Yeah, it was just crazy.
I think we could go on for hours and hours and hours talking about this. But honestly, I'm exhausted. It just gets me heated every time I think about it, because like you said, it just felt like a waste of time at this point. Mm-hmm. And Peter didn't find love. And so all of it was for nothing, in my opinion. But that's where we're going to end here. In conclusion, guys, make sure to follow Chat to Review on Instagram to stay up to date with the latest news, chews, and reviews.
We are now on Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, all the other good stuff. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and share us with all your friends.
We will be back next week with a brand new episode. Bye.